Good afternoon. It is with great respect that we extend our heartfelt welcome to Her Ladyship, the Honourable Chief Justice Muthu Fernando, President's Council, who graces today's occasion, the highest judicial officer of our country, and an enduring emblem of dignity, wisdom, and judicial excellence. With a legacy marked by integrity and distinction, the Honourable Chief Justice stands as a monumental inspiration to every woman in the legal profession. A journey reflecting not only a professional triumph, but also national symbol of what professionalism, courage, intellect, and dedication can achieve at the pinnacle of justice. We are also privileged to welcome a distinguished panel of legal professionals whose commitment to justice and progress is truly commendable. Honorable Justice Kumudini Wickramasinghe, Judge of the Supreme Court, Honorable Ayesha Jinasena, President's Counsel, Secretary to the Ministry of Justice, Mrs. Saumya Amarasekara, President's Counsel, Mrs. Shiranti Gunadana, Senior Instructing Attorney, Mrs. Nilanthi Piris, Partner at Paul Ratnayak Associates, Dr. Dayani Panagoda, International Consultant, the moderator of this symposium. Further, we warmly and sincerely welcome the leadership of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka for their steadfast support, which is gratefully appreciated. Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya, President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Mr. Chathura Gallena, Secretary of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, and the Executive Committee members of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. At the same time, it is our pleasure to warmly welcome all the invitees with us today. Moreover, we warmly welcome the registered delegates of the symposium, apprentices, and law students. This symposium is not merely an assembly, it is an invitation of reflect, collaborate, and propel change. Today, we address key challenges and opportunities that shape the careers of women lawyers. Work-life integration, leadership progression, gender equality, and the evolving landscape of our profession. We also honor the wisdom of our senior lady lawyers, celebrating the enduring example that they offer as mentors and trailblazers. May this evening be one of thoughtful engagement, connection, and inspiration, one that empowers our future generation of women lawyers to rise, lead, and transformation. Thank you.
Now we would like to welcome Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya, the President of the Bar Association, to make his welcome speech.
Your Lordship, Your Ladyship, the Chief Justice, Muthu Fernando, President's Council, Justice Kumudini Wickramasinghe, Judge of the Supreme Court, Ms. Ayesha Jinasena, President's Council, Secretary, Ministry of Justice, eminent members of the panel, and our distinguished moderator this afternoon, Mr. Chathura Gallena, Secretary, Mr. Sarinda Jayawardena, Assistant Secretary, members of the organizing committee led by Mrs. Indika Nagaratna and Mrs. Nalini Manatunga, chairperson of the BSL Women Lawyers Committee, Mrs. Faiza Marka, President's Council, Chairperson of the BSL Gender Equality Committee, Mrs. Tushani Machado, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen, both present here in this hall and also virtually joining us, a very good afternoon to all of you. This is truly a historic moment for the Bar Association as we gather today for what I believe is the first ever Women Lawyers Symposium. Over the past few months, we have hosted several important symposiums, but today's one holds particular significance. I would like to, at the outset, thank the Women Lawyers Professional and Career Development Committee for organizing today's symposium, of course, with the support of the Women Lawyers Standing Committee and the Gender Equality Committee. The Women Lawyers Professional and Career Development Committee was established during my tenure as Secretary in 2020 with a clear purpose, that is to support and advance the career progression of women in our legal profession. This year, we have taken that vision further by forming for the first time, the Gender Equality Committee of the Bar Association. This committee has been entrusted with the responsibility of guiding and advising us on how best to achieve greater gender representation and equality across all aspects of our legal profession. Not long ago, we discovered that the Legal Aid Commission had no female commissioners. At the very first opportunity for new appointments, we addressed that gap. We are currently expanding our disciplinary panels. Just this morning, I received the list of names of members we have previously appointed, and strikingly, not a single woman was among them. That will change. I can assure you that going forward, women will be well represented on all these panels. Not only that, we encourage greater participation of women lawyers in all our activities, whether it may be programs, symposiums, webinars, and so on. With inclusivity and inclusiveness and representation being a strong pillar in the work we do at the Bar Association today. There are obviously two prevailing schools of thought on this matter. One which argues for affirmative action, creating space and providing access and facilities for women and children as envisioned and provided for in our Constitution. The other insists that professional opportunities should be based solely on merit, capability, and effort. I will not wade too deeply into that debate today. However, what I will say from the BSS perspective is this. If you look at the university system, for example, the state university system, take the law faculty, for example, there are much more women coming through the channels to the legal profession than we have men. Every year, many capable young women enter the legal profession. Yet somewhere along the way, their continued presence in the legal profession diminishes. And there's an important question as to why that is. And that is, I hope, something which will be discussed in the deliberations today. If you examine the issue from a regional perspective, we see that while the Asia-Pacific region currently records an employment growth rate of 1.7%, which is the fastest in the global scenario, significantly, gender disparities continue to persist in terms of access, quality, and security of employment. Sri Lanka's total labour force participation currently stands at 47.7%. However, of those who are economically active, 66.2% are men and only 33.8% are women. A stark reminder of the imbalance that still prevails as of date. Yet, in contrast to these figures, Sri Lanka has a distinction of producing the world's first female Prime Minister, female Chief Justices, and more recently, leaders such as Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya and Mayor Rai Balthazar. These achievements demonstrate that women can and do rise to the highest levels of leadership, but it also highlights that such success is not yet broad-based or systemic. Today we are privileged to have with us the second Lady Chief Justice of the Republic, Her Ladyship Justice Muthu Fernando, President's Counsel, someone who has quietly, consistently and resolutely risen to the very pinnacle of our system of administration of justice. We are especially honored that Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, accepted this invitation despite an incredibly demanding schedule as she approaches retirement next week. My lady, thank you very much for your presence today. These moments matter, they inspire, they empower. They help light the path for a new generation. Thank you very much. We are also joined here with us, we have Her Ladyship Justice Kumudini Wickramasinghe, Ms. Ayesha Jinasena, President's Counsel, Mrs. Shiranti Gunawardana, Senior Instructing Attorney, Mrs. Saumya Amarasekara, President's Counsel, and Mrs. Nilanthi Piris. And we have Dr. Dayani Panagoda moderating. We are privileged to have all of you with us, and thank you very much. Yet, despite this inspiring presence of accomplished women, we have never had a female president of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. In the most recent Executive Committee elections of the BSL, the Bar Council, 2 women stepped forward to contest, but unfortunately were not elected. While we couldn't have elected members, we did nominate a senior professional practitioner to the EXCO in the senior capacity, that is in the form of Mrs. Shiranti Gunawardana. And by an amendment we brought in, I think in 2022, we managed to bring in 2 women members to the junior EXCO. Ladies and gentlemen, this symposium gives us a valuable platform to discuss these challenges and opportunities. You will soon hear from women who have reached the very top of their field, proof that the so-called glass ceiling does not exist. Their journeys challenge long-held assumptions and reaffirm the possibilities that lie ahead in our profession. In fact, the idea of this symposium originated, as I mentioned, from the Women Lawyers Professional and Career Development Committee. It started initially as an idea for a casual coffee evening. I asked why not raise the bar and host a fully fledged Women Lawyers Symposium. And that is how we are here this afternoon. In closing, I wish to extend my thanks once again to the Women Lawyers Professional and Career Development Committee, the Women Lawyers Committee, and the Gender Equality Committee for making this event a reality. Your efforts are deeply appreciated. Thank you very much, and I do look forward to a very thought-provoking and interesting discussion today. Thank you very much.
Now we will have our tribute speech by Ms. Nalini Mantunga, Co-Chairperson, Women Lawyers Professional and Career Development Standing Committee.
Your Ladyship, Chief Justice Muthu Fernando, President's Counsel, Your Ladyship, Justice Kumudini Wickramasinghe, President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Secretary, Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Assistant Secretary, Bar Association of Sri Lanka, President Councils, eminent panelists, Madam Chair, committee members, ladies and gentlemen. It is with deep respect and heartfelt admiration that I rise today to pay tribute to Her Ladyship, Chief Justice Muthu Fernando, President's Counsel, a figure whose legal journey stands as a powerful example to every woman in this profession, especially to the many young lawyers present here today. Her Ladyship is a proud alumni of the University of Colombo, a daughter of our own soil, who began her legal career at the Attorney General's Department and rose steadily through the ranks to reach the highest judicial office in our country, the office of Chief Justice. Her story reflects not just personal success, but the triumph of vision, discipline, and purpose. Yet her ladyship's career is not defined by titles alone. It's shaped by the values she has lived by: professionalism, fairness, a deep commitment to justice, and a quiet but firm leadership. Her presence here today reminds us, especially our younger colleagues, that the path of a woman lawyer is not limited. It is open, it's dynamic, and it leads to the way heart of legal power and decision making. The future of the legal profession for women depends on how they act with integrity, diligence, adaptability, and a deep commitment to the profession. As we look around this room, we see extraordinary women, honorable Supreme Court judges, leading legal scholars, and specialists in South Asian jurisprudence, all of whom have reached their positions through the same core values: capability, sacrifice, and hard work. Their collective achievements send a clear message. Women are not on the periphery of the legal profession. We are at its center, not just participating, but making law, interpreting it, and shaping the future of justice. And if we are ready to work hard and continue to work hard, there are no limits to what we can achieve. To our younger women at the bar, let this moment encourage you. Look at the paths that have already been paved. Let these remarkable women, including her ladyship, the Chief Justice, be your guiding lights. Let their strength, discipline, and unwavering commitment to excellence give you the confidence to keep going, even when the journey feels long. Because if they have done it, so can you. And one day, you too may stand here, not just as a participant, but as a leader, a mentor, and inspiration to others. Your Ladyship, thank you for your presence today, and more importantly, thank you for showing us, not through words, but through a lifetime of work, that a woman's place in the legal profession is not defined for her, but chosen by her. Thank you.
That was a wonderful presentation of Her Ladyship, Chief Justice Mrs. Murdu Fernando, PC. Now we shall have the keynote address by Her Ladyship, Honorable Chief Justice Murdu Fernando, President's Council. Over to you.
Good evening to all of you present here. Wonder whether you all can even see me here. I don't know. Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya, President of the Bar Association, members of the Bar Association, members of the Standing Committees on Women Lawyers Committee, Women Lawyers Professional and Career Development Committee, and Gender Equality Committee of the BSL, members of the legal profession, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by thanking the BSL, along with its standing committees, for inviting me to this special event. It gives me immense delight to grace this occasion. I'm deeply honored by this felicitation, and I see it not as a personal honor, but a reflection of the progress the legal community has made. The law is, after all, about fairness, and it's encouraging to see that value increasingly and organically reflected within the profession. When I look back on my journey in the legal field, I don't think of it solely in terms of my identity as a female. I have never believed that my gender has defined my role in society today or in the field of law, or that it has limited it. Maybe you would have heard me relay this story before, but I say it once again to show you something of importance. To tell you that stories of the countless women in the profession are filled with nuance and persona that goes far beyond their identity as a woman. Yes, we are women, but that is not why we are here. We often discuss the barriers women face in the profession, and while that history and experience is real, I believe it is just as important that we acknowledge how far we have come. If I may reminisce, upon passing out of law college in 1983, I served my apprenticeship period at Julius & Creasy Law Firm, where the president partner was Mrs. Lena Fernando. Mrs. Lena Fernando also hails from my own hometown, Moratuwa, and she used to tell me that when she first joined Julius & Creasy, she was the only female attorney at law. But there was one other lady, and she was the telephone operator whose desk was outside the main office of the firm. So that was the situation then. Women were not sent for employment, they were at home. The few who ventured out were either employed as receptionists, telephone operators, etc., and sometimes, as what happened at Julius & Creasy's, were kept out of the main office to do the sundry jobs and not the main jobs. And that was maybe the beginning of 1950 or whatever. 200 years back, the need for education of female child was not important. The history of my school, Princess of Wales, which was founded 150 years back, records that the school started with 10 students. I know of many other schools, even in Colombo, which were formed to have educated wives for the men at that time. That was the only aim of education then. In school, those days, what was taught was home science and sewing. But today, multidisciplinary areas of study are being taught. Those days, only dodgeball was played in school for girls. Today, cricket and cadeting too are areas in which the women have achieved greatness. And even with regard to cricket, to have a national cricket team. We have come a long distance from that past. Who made these decisions? Is it the law? I don't think so. There are persons who say that the law is archaic, and they always claim women and young offenders, children's ordinance, and say, why do we have laws like this? These should be amended. These should be repealed. Why is it that the penal code has special offenses for women? Those things should be removed. We are all equal. Well, in my personal view, I do not think that is what we ought to do. At that particular time, these laws were there to safeguard the women or to protect the women at that time. But law alone will not change the status of a woman. I believe the authorities and decision makers and the society is what changed that outlook. Female child is now educated, gets equal opportunities in higher educations, have no restrictions and limitations in employment. Who made this empowerment of women? The family, the society, or individuals themselves? Who did it? The more I look at this room, the happier I feel as I gaze upon the faces of our future generations. Empowerment does not start in the workplace or at some motivational online posts. It starts within ourselves. Therefore, this event will be crucial in ensuring that we as a community herald ourselves. Do we need to let our voice be heard? Or do we need to act? Or do we need to start within us to change this culture? That is a thought for you to ponder. One of the fundamental parts of our legal culture is the importance given to Article 12(1) of the Constitution. It is the heart and soul of the public trust doctrine, and the progenitor to other rights like the right of the freedom of speech or the right to be free of arbitrary arrest. It is embedded in the constitutional values stated in the preamble that freedom, equality, justice, fundamental human rights are parts of the intangible heritage that guarantees the dignity and self-worth to an individual. The Book of Gender Equality is written into the fundamental legal backbone of our country. It is up to us to write the chapters accordingly. This responsibility weighs not just upon the individual, but the forces higher up in echelon too. For this, female representation needs to be made the norm and not a special requirement. I envision a future where a female CEO, a female president, or even a female chief justice does not become a celebrity point for the movement, but it becomes commonplace. Women in positions of leadership need not be defined merely as firsts or exceptions, because many of us has simply been here doing the work, holding responsibility, and contributing in meaningful ways, just as would be expected of any professional in this field. We are already in the midst of this shift in mentality, and it is an organic one, spearheaded by those who have walked this path before us. It is the responsibility of the community to enact social change that targets the mindset of individuals, as opposed to legislative change that merely requires a body of unchanged people to comply with a standard they have not ideologically caught up with. Having said that, what about the legal profession? The majority of ladies in the profession, I presume, do not practice law in the way law ought to be practiced. They are not counsel. Only a minority, a very few lady lawyers practice as counsel. Most of the others are instructing attorneys or juniors to these counsel. Is it by choice? Or is it by circumstances? Or is it for some other reason? Well, when it comes to private practice, why is it that the ladies are not there in the field? Is it the long hours, the unpredictable schedules which are difficult to handle? What is the problem? This leads to the preference of employment to a 8-to-5 employment, and to generally tend to sway towards men, the profession, leading to lower employment opportunities for women to practice. Is that the reason? How can we overcome it? Are we willing to overcome it? Or is it just talk shows that we have? Why is it that we are not interested in practice? When we look at the official bar, the time I joined the official bar, I was the 8th woman to join the profession, the department. And when I say 8th, in a history of 100 years, I joined the AG's office on the 101st year, I believe. Yes, 101st year. So, and I was the 8th. That doesn't mean there were 8 in office. I think 2 or 3 had, 1 or 2 at least, had already resigned. So there were only just a few of us. But now when you look at it, more than 50% are females. And they do a very good job, that much I can tell you. Why is it that in the unofficial bar, in the private practice, there aren't many ladies? Why is it in the apex court we don't see ladies? What is the reason? I'm not going to give you any answers. These are just points to ponder. What is it? What is it that is keeping you out? There are ladies in any other fields. There are doctors who have risen to the top. In the accountancy field, CEOs, company heads, people who have entrepreneurships, owners of factories, owners of shops, biggest malls. Why is it in our field that there is a dilemma or there's something that keeps them away out of practice? What is it? Is it travel options? Is it late hours? Is it motherhood? No, can't be. I do not understand. What is it that is keeping the ladies out? Or is it just that they wish to have a comfortable life? Just be at home, not to do that much of work? What is it that is? How can you say that empowerment, women's empowerment, then who should start the empowerment? Is it not the law? It's yourselves. If you want to be comfortable at home, wish to have an afternoon siesta. This time is also bad, I believe, for that. Is that the reason? Why is it? I'm not going to find solutions to these problems. It's just thoughts for you to ponder. I can see we have a lady up there in front, 2 ladies or at least 3 ladies who have gone to the top. I mean, they are the best in the field. Why is it that the others are not coming? Do they wish to do flexible work from home, online? Is it that they are not interested in their career development? Or mentorship program for women lawyers? When will it be time ripe for the women to sit at the same table as their male counterparts, as that was told by the president? No women contest the BASL elections. No women are there in the executive committees. And I believe you have got these 3 ladies onto this standing committee. But I hope it will continue. What is the reason? Anyway, to the talented and capable female lawyers among us today, I encourage you, I give you a challenge, I encourage you to take active role in the affairs of the BASL. The president himself has opened that flow for you all to come. So this is a good opportunity for you all to join the BASL, and not just as members, but as leaders. The legal profession must draw from all its talent, regardless of gender, if it is to fully serve justice. Bar Association will be stronger, richer, and more representative when it is led by individuals who reflect the full breadth of the profession. I think it is important to mention the words of the first woman to serve as a justice of the US Supreme Court, former Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, who said, "As women achieve power, the barriers will fall. As society sees what women can do, as women see what women can do, there will be more women out there doing things, and we'll all be better off for it." I truly believe that we are already witnessing the days spoken by Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. Society has seen what you can do. They now know your worth as women, and that is through hard work and relentless resilience. From boardrooms to courtrooms, classrooms to laboratories, women have reshaped the narrative, not by asking for permission, but by proving they deserve to be there. As daughters, leaders, mentors, inventors, mothers, and advocates, they've shown that excellence knows no gender. The barriers haven't just fallen, they've been repurposed as stepping stones towards a more inclusive future. And with each stride forward, that vision of a world better off becomes not just a hope, but a reality unfolding before our own eyes. Let us pledge today to not just celebrate progress, but to cement it. Let us be a professional body that makes gender parity a lived reality, not an aspiration, not only for ourselves, but for those who come next. Just because a few of us are able to reach the heights we have, it does not mean that such an equal opportunity extends to all women. So let's not allow history to remember us solely for the positions we held, but for the doors we open to those who will come after us. May the legacy of our profession be one of fairness, courage, and shared triumph. And with that, may I conclude once again by thanking the Bar Association of Sri Lanka and the standing committees for this special event organized as a felicitation and maybe as a farewell when I say goodbye to the profession in a few days' time. Thank you.
I thank your ladyship for that wonderful keynote. Now I wish to introduce the panelists for today. Firstly, please bear with me. I would like to introduce Mrs. Justice Her Ladyship Justice Kumudini Wickramasinghe, Honorable Judge of the Supreme Court of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. I invite Her Ladyship to the stage. Next, Ms. Ayesha Jinasena, Secretary to the Ministry of Justice, President's Council. Ms. Saumya Amarasekara, President's Council. Mrs. Shiranti Gunawardena, President's Council. Senior Instructing Attorney. Ms. Nilanthi Piris, Partner at Paul Ratnayaka Associates. And Dr. Dayani Panagoda, our moderator for today. Over to you, Ms. Dayani.
Good afternoon. Honorable Chief Justice Murthy Fernando, Her Ladyship, and Justice of the Supreme Court, Honorable Kumudini Wickramasinghe, and the panelists here. Let me start from Mrs. Shiranti Gunawardena, Senior President's Attorney, and Ms. Ayesha Jinasena, President's Counsel, Secretary, Ministry of Justice, and Saumya Amarasekara, President's Counsel, and Nilanthi Piris, Senior Attorney at Law, President of the Bar Association, Rajiv Amarasurya, and the co-chairs of the Women Lawyers Professional and Career Development of the Standing Committee of the Bar Association, my good friend Indika Nagaratna and Nalini Manatunga, and all the distinguished personalities, young lawyers, as well as experienced lawyers here. And I'm very glad to see that few men are around, although that we are talking about women and their progression. I believe that we should have had more men in this audience and maybe even a panelist to discuss about women's progression in terms of, especially in a profession which is known for male dominance. That's my personal opinion. However, let me begin by saying that women belong in all places where decisions are being made. I totally agree with Honorable Chief Justice. You mentioned that as well. It shouldn't be that women are the exception. And this was said by Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg of the US Supreme Court Associate Justice. With that, I think to set the tone to the panel discussion, let me also bring to your notice that women lawyers around the world face a range of challenges in the legal profession, including gender bias, work-life balance issues, gender pay gap, and also lack of representation in leadership roles. So taking this as an initiative to work with the women lawyers here in Sri Lanka, I think Bar Association is giving that opportunity for us to discuss, deliberate, and to see where we can move forward and upwards, and also break in that glass ceiling and make our careers an exceptional career and make it felt and make it impactful. And whilst thanking the Bar Association for bringing me as the moderator, let me also bring to your notice that this is an invitation for all of you to strategize, stand together, and build a clear, stronger, and more inclusive pathways forward for the young lawyers and those who are, especially for women lawyers. And it is also about addressing the visible and invisible barriers, such as unconscious biasness, also to the lack of representation in senior legal positions on the bench. With that note, I also want to remind you that the progress doesn't happen by chance. It happened by a choice. And for that, I must tell you that I chose to become an academic. Unfortunately, it's not because it's my choice, it's by my father's choice. Because he being a principal and my mom was a teacher, and he said, I have 8 children in the family and there is no teacher in the family. So I was the youngest, I'm the youngest in the family, had to obey him and choose the career as a lecturer in law, and went to Kotalavela Defense Academy then, and now the Defense University. And you know what? The Kotalavela Defense Academy, the senior said, no way that you are going to teach us law. Senior student officers said, no way you are going to teach us law. You are a woman, how can you teach us law? You can teach geography, or you can teach maybe sociology, but not law. But I survived there 15 years as a permanent staff member, and now I am visiting in that place as well as many other places. Having said that, 2 housekeeping rules. One is please keep your mobile silent, and also or switch it off, unless that you get a call from very important, but I think in the legal fraternity, all the important personalities are here, so you don't get a call, right? So keep it silent or switch it off. And we have like 1 hour to the panel discussion, and then another half an hour to the question and answers. So keep your questions ready. After the panel discussion, we will have the question and answer session. And we have 3 rounds of questions or reflections by the panelists, and each one will get about 3 to 4 minutes to reflect on. And also I will start with some general questions or the reflections as to set the tone. One is that, are there actually barriers for progressing in terms of as a young women lawyers, or for example, especially in Sri Lanka, is there? Maybe I would like President's Counsel Soumya Amarasekara, if you can reflect on saying becoming a counselor or becoming a legal practitioner, are there barriers?
Personally, I don't think so. I think it's entirely up to you. You set the barriers, and if you want to achieve a particular target, and if you are willing to put in the hard yards, I don't think there are any barriers, except for perhaps personal and social barriers. As the
Thank
Chief
you.
Justice mentioned, like if you're a mother, those things can affect. But I think until you really reach the top and there are only a few people that can be selected or all compete for the top post, I don't think there are any barriers in the profession, at least in the private bar.
Also, I would also like to see that whether there are any significant personal strategies or principles or guidelines that one should put forward apart from the code of ethics to become an exemplary legal professional, or something that I have already achieved. I would like this general question to be kind of addressed by any of the panelists, and especially Ms. Aisha Jinasen, President's Counsel, and also the Secretary to the Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Dr. Panakoda, for that question. Yes, I think as the President's Counsel, Ms. Amarasekara said, there are no barriers unless you accept that. Barriers are there. You have to face those if you accept it. Sometimes those come by way of challenges. So whether you like it or not, you have to face at times those challenges. So how do you ethically approach that? I think you have to identify what the issue that is before you, what the challenge is, and then you have to disassociate yourself from the issue and look at it from outside. Then you are not breaching any of the rules. Because if you are involved in that, Dr. Panakoda, then you lose your balance, the mental balance. That is why we see sometimes in court, we do not fight our case, but we fight the counsel.
Oh.
So that is what we should not do. So I think ethically we must have a set of principles, because we are all different individuals, but we are meeting at a common forum where ideas are different. So respect the views of the others, and that will be reciprocal. So I think ethically that's how we
Yeah, that was excellent. Excellent opportunity for us to bring in the Her Ladyship Justice Kumudini Wickramasinghe. Do you think that when they come to courts, and then especially the young ones coming into courts and also come with seniors maybe, do you see there is mentorship or sponsorship for them to become that leader that we are looking for in the profession? Ma'am?
Yes, it's very sad to say. Thank you very much for the question, Dr. Panagoda. It's very sad to say sometimes the most oftenly we have noticed that proper mentorship is not there. There are few council who are doing very well, and even juniors, we must say, and we must congratulate them at this moment. We have noticed some of the very good juniors doing their job of work in a very impressive manner. They are well prepared and they put their arguments in a proper manner, and they respect the bench, and they use good language. But unfortunately, there are some of them, they are not ready at all. Sometimes they don't know to whom they are appearing even. Sad to say, not at all, only ladies, women lawyers. I am talking about this generally. So at least now we are talking about women lawyers here. So as seniors, I can see many seniors are here, and then Honorable Chief Justice here, and I am very proud to say that in her presence that we have a panel at least now. This is the first time we are having such a panel here, organized by Bar Association. Congratulations, President. We are very glad to see the effort that you are taking with regard to of upbringing young lawyers, lady lawyers especially. So at the very outset, I am telling that. And member of the bench, I must see, I always think, I am a person, personally I am thinking, I never prejudge any counsel when I go to the bench. So the lawyers who appear before me would have noticed that. So actually speaking, some lawyers are well known to obtain days and then dodging cases and like that. So as lawyers, you must never you must never be like that. So then sometimes, though the bench is very open-minded members are there, but still they are all human beings. So sometimes they will prejudge you.
Thank
So those are the things. There are many things we can discuss, but it's always better to have an open mind and must have a helicopter view on what you listen, what you hear, and what you do in courts.
I think we can listen to you in other rounds as well in length, and then that brings to the two professional like Nilanthi Piri is attorney at law, and Shiranti Gunaradana. Both of you are in that system. Both of you have the juniors. Both of you are. So, is there a institute? Do you need the support from the institutions to inculcate these into the young lawyers? Is it the Bar Association who has to do it, or is it the law faculties or the other organizations that who are working do it, or is it the chambers that has? So, if I can get a brief reflection from both of you. You go first, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you. Now it's a very important question which we should address, because one of the things that I've noticed is there are so many numbers coming out of the universities, law college, private institutions. There are so many lady lawyers amongst them. But what I find is that most of them, when they come to the profession, they don't know what we expect from them or what is due to the profession from them. So therefore, I think the Bar Association and the relevant institutions should take cognizance of this and see that they are given a very good mentorship and a good training as to what we expect from an instructing attorney or a counsel. I will share something that happened to me recently. Recently, one of my juniors called me and said, "Madam, there is a girl, she has been in the field for 3 years, but she doesn't know what to do. So I said, okay, you let her come. And this little girl came to me. I asked her, what have you been doing? She said, Madam, මම මුද්දර ගේන්න යනවා. මං translate කරනවා. මම journal entry ලියනවා. Then I asked, why is that? I said, here I will not get you to do that. You will have to go to courts, appear as an instructing attorney, and we have got standard plates. You draft it. Now this girl has been with me for 2 months. I'm proud to say, today I asked, how do you like it? And then she also said, Madam, judges like, man kiyana එක ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. Then I asked, why is that? Then she told me, අපිට කියලා තියෙනවා ගෑනු ළමයි වැඩි අයියෙන් කතා කරන්න එපා. So I told her, no, in this profession it is not so. I said, I am capable even talking to this all without a mic, I said. So for that, you better improve yourself. I am proud to say, this girl, after she came to me, she's appearing in courts, she's even able to keep a case down. And not only that, today she has finished 30 plain, same standard, but coming at him my approval. So I said, as seniors, as women lawyers, as institution, bar association, women lawyers, we have to mentor and give the courage and the strength for our up and coming lady lawyers to come up and be like the people who are on this panel. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. If you ask me after 35 years in the bar, if you ask me if I know most of the thing, I will definitely refer to Indika or someone on my batch and then refer to. Because I'm also clueless. However, Nilanti, can you add something in brief? Yeah.
I became an instructing attorney not because there was any barrier, but by choice. And I enjoy being an instructing attorney, maybe being domineering to the counsels and scolding these men at most of the time. And then I must say that I think the problem is in my office, all the associates, I have only female associates. I don't have a single male. But I can tell you, being an instructing attorney is not an easy job. It's a very it's a tireless job. You get blackguarded from the counsel, you get blackguarded from the client because you're liaising with the client. And thirdly, when you go to courts, and when the pages are not numbered properly or tagged properly, you get blackguarded from the counsel and by the judge also. So it is a very difficult job. It's a very tireless job. And if there is any day when there is night work, we do work overnight because councils don't send enjoining order planes like that. They send it at about 10 o'clock in the night, 11 o'clock, and then they go to sleep. Then you have to do all the work. You have to see that the affidavit, there are no mistakes. You have to ensure that the JP is ready even to come at 12 o'clock. And when there are only females doing the work, even my support staff, the stenographers, all of them are females. I have only one male. But then I have to ensure he stays to see that they have to be sent back in safe vehicles. I have to ensure that the environment is safe that night. Because so there is a lot of this thing where females are concerned. There is constraint, but I think the more problem is that the women have had barriers because they are mothers and their wives. So I think that has been a barrier. Maybe that is not by, it is always by choice. So I think that has been maybe a barrier for females, maybe to this thing. So that has been a barrier.
Yeah, so with that general reflections, let me go into detail. And first is that Your Ladyship Justice Kumudini Wickramasinghe, may I ask you to reflect on your beliefs on strategic, personal and professional actions that ensures leadership that you are in judiciary and wider legal profession, that you have thrived, you have come to the pinnacle. Any reflections that you have on that?
Is always there, not only in the judiciary. So in order to gain leadership,
I think you must work hard. As the Honorable Chief Justice mentioned a little while ago, it won't come to you. If you just wait, well, I want to be the best person, I want to be a good lawyer, good counsel, I want to top the batch like that, it won't happen. You have to work for it. And also, you must not compete with others. You must compete with yourself. That is my thinking. So, in order to be a good leader, you must set an example to others. And whenever there's a problem, you must be able to tackle it, not to be cornered and thinking about the problem over and over again. And in order for you to remedy, as my good friend, my former colleague mentioned, you must not be in that and then try to solve the problem. Then you can't. That is the very reason that when clients are there, you need a lawyer. There are lawyers who have problems and then they still retain lawyers. So you would have been you would have noticed that sometimes the clients themselves, they wish to appear without any lawyer. Today also I had a problem like that. So he had filed his affidavit in the Court of Appeal and notices also Court of Appeal, and he is expecting the Supreme Court to serve notice. Then it was in digital court and it was not very easy. If he was just before us, it would have been easier. Then he was telling, I have filed it, but in the brief it was not there, neither in the brief nor in the docket. So I asked, when did you file? Where did you file? And I said, can't be in the Supreme Court, you would have filed it elsewhere. Then he said, yes, I have filed it in the Court of Appeal. So how can you expect? And then he was telling, and there were so many connected cases, about 5 cases, I think. Then he said, well, madam, I didn't know because I am not a lawyer. So that was his excuse. And if something goes wrong, the bench is responsible, or the staff, generally the bench. So therefore, you must be very comfortable with your work, and if you are going to be a leader, you have to have leadership qualities. There are so many. Right now I am not going to explain all that. Thank you.
So it's the individual who needs to be prepared with the will and also with the skills and the knowledge. With that, I think ideally that we should also talk to Ms. Samarasekara. Looking back at your career, what as a counsel, leading counsel, female leading counsel, what have you observed, and also what have it become like to become a successful lawyer? Have you what kind of an advice you can give it to the women lawyers, especially the young lawyers? What have you done differently?
It's not what I have done differently. I think basically a law degree or being a professional lawyer gives you many career opportunities. The ideal and the most glamorous part which you see on TV is like, a lawyer getting up on their feet, arguing a case. That looks very exciting. Or to be a judge and be on the bench looks very exciting, right? But a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of work that goes behind that. Like Ms. Piris, Ms. Gunawardhan, and they do the instructing work that is just as challenging. And that's another career path within the legal profession. Then there are so many people who join banks, other institutions as legal officers. Then you can actually use that to go into other careers. I mean, you can combine it with accountants, you can become tax experts. So there are so many paths available with a law degree that you can go into. So personally, I think you must check where your strengths are and what your passion is, and choose your career path accordingly. Even within the legal profession, there are so many avenues available to you. I mean, to be a counsel, this is what I did, but for that you must have some kind of talent to get up and speak. A lot of people joined the profession, but they are really not comfortable getting up on their feet and speaking, but that's perfectly all right. I mean, not everybody can do that, but that is not the end of a legal career. So if it's not your forte, then you must choose something that suits you. So just because you don't become a counsel, it doesn't make you less of a lawyer. But there are other paths that are available to you. Then to be an instructing attorney, I think you have to be extremely well organized, and very down to earth, lot of hard work. So but there are people, there are counsel who are not so well organized. I mean, you are good on your feet, you have to think on your feet as a counsel, which not everyone can do, but there are a lot of counsel who are not as well organized as instructing attorneys. They have to run bigger offices. They have to do a lot of nitty-gritty work, but which can always be done if you are very well organized. Or then there are a lot of company secretaries, I think. I mean, you advise like big companies, institutions, where your advice or opinion is sought at a company level, which can affect millions, billions of rupees. So if you're competent, I have seen girls getting into those fields and they do extremely well, but you don't see them as the glamorous part of the legal profession. But they do extremely well. Some end up as company directors, some end up as head of companies, all those things. So I think anybody, should take about 4 or 5 years. Nothing can be achieved in a day. That is one thing you must remember in this profession. So I think you need to spend at least 5 years maybe working in different areas and to see what suits you and what you're best at. So basically, if you choose what you're good at, then you will definitely do well in that and you will be happy coming to work. I have seen so many girls who come to court because they have no choice or they have chosen the wrong thing. Anyway, they are not happy. So you must be able to be happy to get up in the morning and go to the job. So if you are good in your field that you choose, then there won't be that much stress also, because that will come easily to you. For instance, even within the council, you get criminal and civil. Personally, I don't think I can handle a criminal case. The tension would be too much. Now, for them, it's like they took to it like duck to water. So then even within the council, you get the Attorney General's department whose client is the state. Then you get the private bar. So in the private bar, there is no room for mistakes. Your client will be at you.
Yeah, I'll get back to you. That's very interesting. But I need to get to with that point. I need to get to Ms. Ayesha Jinasena, President's Counsel, and also Secretary, Ministry of Justice. You were arguing in the courts, so you fulfilled that lawyer becoming a lawyer. But now you are in the policy making. You have achieved the ranks of at the Attorney General Department, and now you are in the ministry. How do you see that transformation, and how do you see that the policy making, and also that not in the courts but in making the policies? How do you see that? So somebody can even, as you all said, with the degree, you can even start that job, right? How do you see yourself?
Yes, I see a total transformation of myself because I have been, well, my mother of course says, Ingurudila Mirisara. So now I am wondering whether at the Attorney General's Department I did have some time to sleep. Because under the Ministry of Justice, we get 24 institutions that coming under us. So I am the Chief Accounting Officer for all that, and I am answerable. But at the Attorney General's Department, well, I had a lot of challenges, responsibilities, which I try to discharge to the best of my ability. And I enjoyed doing that. So now I am in a different field where the policy is being made. In court, I argued on the statutes that are enacted and in operation. Now I look into the reasons why those have been brought in, why the amendment should be brought in or new laws should be brought in. It's really challenging, I must say, and we have a very big workforce, unlike at the department. And we are working for the betterment of the country. At the Attorney General's Department, I was attached to the criminal division, and that was another challenging job. I would say that I was in a men's den, lion's den, but then we took up the challenges and we faced it. So if we have done that, we should be able to do the same here in policy making as well. As I said, I mean, it's a beautiful thing when I look at it, Dr. Panagoda, to see how policies are being formulated, because it's somebody's thought, somebody's necessity that develops gradually into a law finally, and the steps that it takes, and how it is nicely polished, how it is being argued among the committee members, and then once it goes to the cabinet, how the views of all members are being taken. So it goes through a process. Now, what I didn't see there at the Attorney General's Department, now I am experiencing. So I consider myself to be lucky in that way.
හොඳයි කාට හරි ඕනේ නම් මුලදිම මිරිස් ගන්නත් පුළුවන් ඉඟුරු දීලා මිරිස් ගන්න නැතුව. I think I was also involved in certain policy making, especially the language policy and implementation part with the Ministry of Justice, and especially reconciliation policy. And it's interesting. So that brings to Mrs. Gunawardena. Could you reflect on what concrete steps that can a law firm retain senior women lawyers, and also to prevent the attrition of experienced female talent, because sometimes maybe it's because of the balancing of the family life, or maybe sort of pressure coming from the other demands as a mother or as a woman to give care to the elderly parents, not only your own parents but also your husband's parents. That is also a challenge. So how do you reflect on that?
Thank you, Dr. Panagoda. Now it's a very crucial question. To retain lady lawyers after they get married or when they get their first child is a very difficult task, because one way they have to look after the child, one way they have to look after their husband, then their mother-in-law, their old parents. I think the best possible thing is to introduce flexi hours. In fact, in my office, we start work from 6 to 6 in the evening. So some of us come at 6 o'clock, but we work only for 7 hours, then we get away. Because I think we should introduce these flexi hours, especially with COVID introduction, we introduce that. Number 2 is the dress code. This wearing sari and working in office is the worst thing that can happen to a lady. In fact, even whenever I can, I come in a short dress to office at 75, at the age of 75, but I ensure when I come out to the public, I get dressed and go out. So I have given the same facility to my lawyers and said, there's a cupboard, you all keep your clothes. All of a sudden, if you want to go out, you will have to get your shoes, get your sari and come out. So these are the 2 rules that I should say if you want to retain your... And also you must have once in a way. In fact, I've got a pressure machine in my office, and some of the senior secretaries, they come and say, "Ane madam mage oluveri denwa. Mata mokada kiyala balan." I said, "Look at your pressure." So they look at their pressure, they are very happy. We have got exercise book on, because I have got about 6 employees who are over 50. So I think the best thing to keep our staff, we must move with them, we must care for them, and we must show they are very, very important to us. I'm very happy to say even my first junior, of course is a male, is still retained by me, and every junior has left me, even in Jaffna, Kandy, Monaragal, all are retained by me by giving them work. So because of that, my network in my work has become very easy.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That reminded me of Honorable Prime Minister Jacinta from in New Zealand coming to the Parliament with the infant, right? So I'm not suggesting that we should take our infants to the court houses, but then the chambers or the other places can accommodate such kind of, changes, and also the flexi hours is very important, and rejuvenating oneself. Nilanti, my good friend, we actually have looked up for you when we were studying at Law College, and seeing you always smiling, never faded that smile away. But being an instructing attorney, you yourself said it is very challenging. And how do you see that the women lawyers take that step and be there and making it happen? Not to be like myself as a briefless lawyer, but to be there on the job.
I'm proud to say, I think now I as a partner, it is my duty when juniors as well as apprentices come to see that they are guided properly, and that they are guided to do the correct thing, to do the proper thing, and that they are guided. They may not stay with you. Some of them will move to outstations. Some of them will move to other places. Some of them will go to a bank. And I have 3 juniors who are now in the judiciary. One is a district judge in a certain court. I don't want to mention her name. So you have to ensure that their career path, also that we see that their career path is formed properly. We have to, now what I do is, I allocate, I don't give files in the morning and say you go here, you go there. No, I'm very well organized. Mrs. Amarasekara knows that. I'm very well organized. I see to it that certain clients are given to the lawyers, to the associates. So they liaison with those clients. They know their files. And then we make the lists a week before. Sometimes they can't go for all their cases because it is depending on the courtroom. So they go for even other people's cases, but other people can brief them on what the cases are. So generally, whoever is handling that particular client, particular files, deal directly with the client. I have no issues. Some of my assistants have been taken, they have recruited them because they have been dealing with these clients. I have lost assistants because they take them. That's okay, because then that is okay, because we have to help them. We have to ensure that their career path also, because we can't be selfish in life, because we come with nothing and we take nothing. So we have to ensure that others are happy. And also, most of the outstation work, we can't be running, we can't go all the time outstation. And we get a lot of outstation work. And most of my assistants who have been with me, all those files, all the proxies, all handled. One of these assistants also here, who was with me, and now she handles all my cases. I give it to them, so that also helps them along. And also you must see that the environment, the office, is a happy place for them to work. You have to see that, not only the lawyers, you have to ensure that the entire staff is happy. So you have to see that there's no disparity between the staff and the lawyers also. And you have to see that they're happy. You have to have Christmas parties, you must take them on trips. Then you have to also see that there are social gatherings, birthday parties. To see that the staff is also united and happy.
That's interesting. May I reply? Your Lordship, you and the other judges, I think it is 50% of the judges are female judges in all courts. However, you play a role in shaping the legal system, interpreting the statutes and all that, but at the same time, don't you think that you also have a role to play in the courthouse itself in terms of giving that assurance, a safe place for the young lawyers, young female lawyers to be, and that message goes around within the courthouse within the male lawyers also, because there may be abusers, where there may be various other complaints coming in. So how do you see the role of the judge? As a judge, I'm asking my lady to reflect on some, like maybe with
Things
some
or
examples.
bad things?
I think both, yeah.
Both. Well, I am actually personally happy when a young lawyer, lady lawyer coming up, and then they come before us and make good submissions. And always when they make good submissions, I always congratulate them and encourage them. And when there's a shortcoming also, I slowly tell them and then try to correct them whenever I see that. And to my research officers and my secretary, I have always mentioned that when somebody corrects you, or when there's a criticism, constructive criticism, sometimes some people might just criticize to humiliate you. So you must take it as a gift. You must not be disheartened. So always now, even now, I am ready to learn. I am ready to get advice from either senior, even maybe a junior. So that is how you should be. And always, it's always better to encourage them and see them whether they are doing well. And I must state now, recently we have inaugurated a Women Lawyers Association. So I have been trying, Judges Association. I was a member in the Women Lawyers, and I am still a member. I was one of the presidents there some time ago. And international level also, we have been inaugurating many women lawyers associations in Kuwait, in Nepal, like that. We have been doing that earlier. And now we have inaugurated the Women Lawyers Association. We had the inaugural session on the 8th of March, and on that day I wanted to have women lawyers as well, not only judges. So we are just started, and we are proceeding with our activities. We have lined up few things. So that is how we are training other judges. And recently, that is what I asked you, whether you like to hear good things or bad things. Recently, there was a petition by a lawyer that counsel stood up and then mentioned in the petition itself, there was a para stating that I wanted to get that para, but I don't have it right now. It states that the judge who decided the case is a young judge. So then, therefore, this order is wrong. We wanted, so it's a real discriminatory portion. And then we wanted him to go and then actually one of the very senior President's Counsel mentioned that, and we noticed, and we took judicial notice, and then that counsel was at first very strongly opposed that, and he was harping on the other issues. And then we said, well, this is not the way that you should file your petition. Please go to that particular court, apologize to that particular judge in Colombo itself, district court, and then we wanted to have a report back to court. So as judicial officers, we must take stern action on these issues. And also some don't know how to respect the bench. So as seniors, not only women lawyers or women judges, as a whole, as judges, we must train them. We must train judges also. I must confess, some judges don't know how to respect the bar, how to respect juniors. We must respect each other. So we are all human beings. We can make mistakes. But you must not take it as a grant, but that is how we must act as judicial officers.
Thank you very much for sharing that good and the bad and the ugly as well. But it's also interesting that the Bar Association is also looking at, with regards to the career development and awareness and all that, on this inclusivity. When you say inclusivity, we all think of inclusion of the minorities, but it's not. It's all forms of discrimination has to be eliminated. I think President Rajiv Amrasuri, you have a long way to go in terms of inculcating all these values and principles in our fraternity. May I come to Mrs. Amarasekara? As a leading female President's Council, you are working tirelessly, but at the same time, you see now the world is developing, the modernization is taking place, and also you have that electronic versions of technology using, and also various ways of doing litigation. Are these tools are being well presented to the young lawyers to learn, and or are there any more room for us to develop and work, especially in drafting, and also especially in kind of because as you first intervention you said about this, it's not an easy task even to be an instructing attorney. So this new technology, with that, how do you see that, and how do the young people should take it?
Actually, I think the young ones are in a wonderful period. When we started, like, photocopying was a luxury. Computers were unheard of, right? So all our research, we had to be in some dusty library, go through book after book, and knowing the Sri Lankan system, you don't get proper digests, catalogs, nothing. So it was luck by chance and sheer hard work for hours. But now everything is at hand. Actually, every day I'm learning things from my juniors. Just yesterday I had to write a letter in a hurry, draft a letter, and I was annoyed about the letter the person I had to address. So it was a very stern letter. But after I did the draft, I realized this was too harsh. So I went out and I told my junior, use ChatGPT and soften it, right? Which they did. I mean, these are marvelous tools which helps everyone. I mean, I'm all for AI. Not that AI is going to argue the case for you, but maybe in the future they will help us to look at things differently, even judges, right? Sometimes a counsel might present a particular argument, but ChatGPT might show you that might not be correct. There is another way. And even some of the judgments, some judgments, drafting, written submissions, some people are naturally talented, some are trained to draft well. Others have the wherewithal, they have the knowledge, but they don't have the skill. I mean, sometimes some people get it naturally, some people train it. Suppose you come from the sciences, you don't draft that well. But ChatGPT and all these AI tools, I think they are a great equalizer. So what you can't write, if you can't write well, I have some juniors, they are very clever, very hardworking, but unfortunately they have language issues. So sometimes what I tell them is, it might help some of y'all, draft in Sinhala, then put it to Google Translation, right? Then they put it to ChatGPT. So 2-3 things, now I get perfect drafts from some people. So everything can be overcome. And with these special tools, then sometimes when we are drafting written submissions, we have to scan we can't scan. You have to, if you are quoting from a judgment or something, you have to type in the whole thing. Now I know it can be scanned, then you put it on, all kinds of things, and finally you get a Word document which can be inserted. So there are so many things. Unfortunately, I'm not really up with this, but I know my juniors use it and I find it extremely helpful. So maybe actually a bar association should have a crash course for the seniors, to bring us up to spec. as to how we can use this, because most of us rely on juniors. So juniors are today ahead of the seniors. I mean, sometimes when a client mentions something, my juniors have their statutes on their phone. Right? So they are so up to date. Sometimes you have to go back, other times we have to go back to the law library, do the research sometimes while a case is going on to check whether what the other lawyer is saying is correct. Today they get it on the phone. So it's so advanced. I think AI is the way to go.
Yeah,
and in a few years' time, you won't need senior lawyers. The juniors will be up there. That's my opinion.
Thank you. But on the other hand, I find it difficult because I am a lecturer in law and few other subjects, and when you give them take-home assignments, it's all about ChatGPT. And when you are coming to the examination and your answer script has only like maybe 10 out of 100, but your assignment is 90 out of 100. So that's how we need to teach our young professionals as well as our young children to use the technology in a proper way and a legal way, and a way that it also enhances their knowledge and their approaches.
Actually, in practice, if I may interrupt, it doesn't matter, because it's not a question and answer session.
Yes.
It's not testing, it's what you do for your client at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you can make the best submission, if you can present the best argument, that is what is needed. It will help the judges.
Yeah.
It will help you. So if you can use all these resources to get the best result, that's
the perfect thing to do.
And it will save them a lot of time. I mean, you will have more time to attend to your personal matters, family lives, all that, by using all these wonderful tools.
And with that, actually, I would like to come to Ms. Jinasena, because you said that there are like 22 institutions that under the ministry, and there are a lot of reforms going on for this legal profession. And how does the ministry looks into these new developments, modernizations, and also where is the role of the young lawyers, especially female lawyers, in terms of such development and the policy framework, policy formulations, reforms takes place?
With regard to the reforms that the ministry has undertaken, it's just today that we decided that all courthouses, that's the magistrate court, I don't know whether I should say this without the minister saying it, but this is a forum where I think I can disclose it, the possibility of giving the smart boards to or the screens to the magistrate courts, the district courts, and the high courts, because now without producing an accused in court, we can get him via Zoom, but for that you need the equipment. So all courts are not provided with it. So in the course of this year, we are trying to do that. Then in the district court, once again, leading evidence through the distant, what do you call that, audio-visual linkage, that facility will be provided, because the law is in the pipeline and we are yet to get the COC from the Attorney General. Once we get it, that will be done. So for that also we need the equipment. Then when it comes to the high courts, it's the same law applies, and we need the equipment. So in the course of this year, we are trying our level best to provide all these 3 courts island-wide, if we can, the relevant equipment we will provide. Then voice to type is another thing that we are looking at, because we have a severe shortage of, the courts are having a severe shortage of typists and the stenographers. So voice to type, if that can be formally adopted and accepted, then there won't be a problem. But of course, currently, Your Ladyship, I think in the Commercial High Court, that's put into practice. So and it is very effectively done. So like that in other courts also, wherever it's possible, if we can do that, that is good. But for that, we are considering of having a legal backing. So that is also in the pipeline.
Thank you very much for sharing that much wanted information. And I think this language and also these interpretations, translations is also a barrier in our not only legal system but entire public sector as well. With that, Mrs. Gunawardena, I was told that there is a growing number of women lawyers in the financial institutions and also kind of banks and other institutions. Was it by choice or was it for some other reasons? And do they have the real know-how and understanding before they embark on such careers, or they do just go there because of the prestige?
Presently I have seen when you interview a junior lawyer or an apprenticeship, when you ask what is that you are looking for, 80% of them will say we want to join a bank or a financial institution. But little do they know, by joining a financial institution or a bank, that they cannot develop themselves. Because I want to tell you, in the most of the law, what happens is there are two sections. One is the professional, the smart young lady who goes as a independent person who is very capable. However, they are coming under some other officers. I'm not looking down on them, maybe with their O-levels and A-levels. There's an ongoing battle. Ultimately, you break down the spirit of that capable lawyers. But I have to tell you, then now even in this audience, there are lady lawyers, especially in our Women Lawyers Association, who has held very prestigious position. But my view is that it's better to be on your own, to be doing instructing or counseling, and be independent, so that banks and finance will come after you, seeking your specialties. Otherwise, we become just another employee and our best cannot be brought out.
And I think you've been endorsing all what she is saying. So let me add to that, saying like, so balancing this prestige versus practicality, and also like changing career models, or like, becoming more and more of that, or is your own?
Because I think most of these young people, when they join a firm, their thing is to wait there for a few years and then move on to a financial institution, a company or a bank. That's their main aim. So one thing is, some of them wait for a very short period and they learn nothing. They think they have learned everything. Then they are grabbed by these financial institutions and banks, and when they go there, when they go into those places, the person whom they are, because they go, the main people there are the recovery people. So they come under these people and they have a time of it. For one thing is, they have not learned the work. I mean, they are very raw, some of them who go. So they don't know the work. Then they cannot take on that stress, because they are very young. So this happens to them. But there are people who are very smart and who have waited for a while, learned the work, who go into these places, and they are also very successful. It depends on what career you eventually want to choose, because some people have risen in the banks, and even as legal officers they have risen, and they have risen to the higher ranks also. But I think the main thing is, you must get a good grounding. As you pass out, I don't advise the next day itself to say, then mama taniya වැඩ කරන්නේ. I don't think that's a good thing, because you are only apprentice and you haven't done that also properly. So you just go into this thing without knowing, because even when we passed out, I didn't even know. I thought, when you said muddara gahana to a proxy, I thought you had to go to the post office and buy all the stamps and paste it. You don't know that you have to go and pay I mean, even little things like this, when we come as apprentices and lawyers, we don't know. So what I'm saying is, as you pass out, I think it's mandatory, even maybe 3 years, to work in a chamber, a senior lawyer, or a instructing firm, so that you get a good grounding. It's, you know, when you are working in a place like that, it's not only that you learn the law work, you also learn to work with others, you learn to respect seniors, you learn to respect judges, you learn all that you learn while you're working with a institution or a senior lawyer. I'm sorry to say, lot of these people don't have this, because I must tell this is said by certain judges from benches, or they tell me this. You know, certain lady called me once and she said, "Akke, ඔහෙ vacancy තියනවද?" I said, කාටද කතා කරන්නේ? මේ අක්කලාගේ තැන vacancy තියනවා කිව්වා. I said, හරි, මම මිස් පීරිස් කතා කරන්නේ. මේ ඔයාගේ ෆෝන් නම්බර් එකට මම මගේ අපේ මේ ඊමේල් ඇඩ්‍රස් එක එවන්නම්. ඔයා මට ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එකක් එවන්න. නෑ අක්කේ මට කියන්න vacancy තියනවද කියලා. So this is why I'm saying, so this is, and certain judges know about it, and they ask me from, when I go to those courts, they want to know, අර නංගිව ගත්තද දන්නේ නැහැ. So that's what I'm trying to say, because when you don't have the grounding, I don't blame that person, because it's just that when you don't have the grounding, all that, then this is what happens. You can't blame those people. So I think even at law college level, without waiting for the Bar Association to do everything, I think from the first year at law college, because those days there was this program, I think Justice Mark Fernando had it. From the first year, during their holidays, they were sent to different places to work. So I think from the first year itself, I think they should start going to places and start working with senior lawyers, institutions, banks, or whatever it is, so that I think it should be introduced from law college itself, not wait for the Bar Association. I don't think it's fair now to ask the Bar Association to do all this. I think it must start from the law college. I think Mr. Amarasuriya can suggest that to Prasantalal to revive that, this thing, not only law college, because all the foreign universities send people.
KDU they have.
KDU?
They have. Internship, doing internship.
60
yes,
hours
but
or something.
The only thing is, they have asked to go to a lawyer. Yeah. In fact, ask whether they can come to
And the other thing, I think we also need to not only at this, even at school or university level, we also need to understand this, respect each other, and not to call everybody Aya and Akka, which I actually think is time now to call ourselves by name or by whatever the credentials you have, and start doing that, because that's very important. Say this problem is not only in our profession but also in the medical field as well. I have seen. So to come to, now that we have come to almost 1 hour, one last reflection. I invite all of you, maybe you can start, Mrs. Gunawardena, and come towards Nilanthi. Work-life balance in demanding profession of like this. What is the one advice that you can give to the young female lawyers as to how they can shape their lives and also have a growth in their profession?
That's a very important question. As women lawyers, we must be able to balance our life, because when we become lawyers, we come from home, from loved parents, then we come out, we take course, then of course starts our second phase of life where we get married. Luckily for me, my husband of course has stood by me for the last 50 years, where we have worked together. But still, there are demands, especially when you are working and when you have young children whom you have to, because not only you are a lawyer, you are a wife and you are a mother, and especially when they grow, they become teenagers, you have more issues. because we have to address them as well. But as professionals, we must be able to balance both. Now, one of the issues that I always face is, I'm not boasting, but I have got a very good memory power. That's because I've got it, because every time I get an apprenticeship, I take the CPC and start going through the sections. So my husband, when I'm in the middle of a consultation, even I'm course, he will give me 10 courses. Shiranti, Mukaddara section nika, Mukaddara section nika. So now, of course, I've trained my daughter also to handle him. So like that, but we have to properly balance our life. We cannot take our work stress home, neither can we bring our home stress to work. If we can balance that, I think we will have a very successful life. And I know so many of our colleagues, our lawyers, our professionals, who are balancing it and doing it very well. I have to tell you, that's something we can learn even from our honorable lady judges who have come to the pinnacle. Then this young lady who has become Secretary of the Ministry of Justice, Nilanthi, and one of our best President's Council, Lady President's Council. We are very proud and very happy when she became President's Council. If you balance your life, all of you can become senior attorneys, Supreme Court judges, provided you balance your life properly.
Thank you. And Mrs. Amrasekar, what is that ingredient?
So basically, I agree with that. It's a difficult task to balance, but actually, it's a matter of multitasking. Unfortunately, our educational system is such, so long as you're in school, you're only expected to get good grades. And to enter a university, that is all what is required of you. So if there is a student who has done sports, drama, there are some girls who do everything, your chances of getting into a university are negligible. But when it comes to real life, the practical situation is, we have to be practical. In Sri Lanka, like as a woman, you're expected to be the mother, the wife, the daughter-in-law, the daughter, all that. And I mean, husbands can be very nice and very accommodating. Mine was, and he encouraged me. But having said that, if my daughter falls sick, it's I who has to stay at home and not he, right? If I don't have a maid, I'm the one who has to cook and not the husband. If some in-law or somebody falls sick, I'm the one who has to make the food and take it to the hospital, not the husband. I mean, they can be supportive. They have the finances, but there are certain expectations of society from a woman. And our society has still not developed to a stage where you can tell the husband, it's your job to take out the garbage. It happens in other countries, but not in Sri Lanka. So we can't fight the system. At least I didn't try to fight the system. I tried to live with it. And in fact, when I got married, my husband said, ideally, I would like for you to stay at home. But since you have been in this profession for a long time, I don't mind you working. But please don't expect me to do the marketing and the cooking. So like a champion, I said, no problem. I can do it all. I still do. I don't cook so much now. But that is the life of a woman. So you have to be realistic. If you try to fight it, you'll be always unhappy. There will be issues at home. So it's a matter of balancing. So like as Shiranti said, I was fortunate. We had husbands who were supporting. Perhaps because they were in the same profession, they knew the pressures that were expected of us. Therefore, they knew what we had to face. I mean, very often I used to take my files to bed. And I study late into the night. Now, of course, due to a lot of grumbling, I study in my chamber, sometimes till 2 o'clock in the morning, quite often, till 3 o'clock in the morning. Then you have to get up in the morning. You have to take your kids for swimming or tennis or get them ready for school. Then you have to supervise their homework. And you have all your other pressures. And then the kid is not interested in studying. They want to, play the fool. And you get annoyed, you scold, you're in a bad mood. So
Maybe my lady, the Honorable Justice Wickramasinghe must be having another ingredient other than the multitasking and having a good husband. Maybe she must be having another ingredient too.
So it's a matter of balancing. It's all
May I ask you to? Yeah.
Nilanthi knows about my husband. Your husband.
May I ask you to reflect on as to how you balance?
Yes, after endorsing everything that my good friend said, I also have gone through this, and then during school days, parents have been doing all that. Those days, the servants were also available, not like now. And then I also did many activities, extra activities, swimming, dancing, sports, athletics, everything. And then I did science and bioscience, and I couldn't select to the medical faculty, few marks were less, and I was selected to the bioscience. But unfortunately my parents, especially my mother, didn't want me to do bioscience because that was during the height of problems, insurgency period in early 80s. And then actually speaking, I was frothing while with my mother because we all studied to go to the university. And then when I was not permitted, I was very upset, but I had a liking in doing law. But those days the best results would be sent to do science. And then we never wanted to do arts. At that time arts not recognized in public schools. I was in Visakha. So then anyway, I did accountancy, and in the meantime I did accountancy, and after foundation stage, those days it was ICMA, started doing law. No, ICMA, CIMA is something else. ICMA. And then second stage, I did law, and then my earlier liking started bringing me, and then started doing law, and thereafter became a lawyer.
So it's the liking. It's
Yes,
the
liking. Earlier I wanted to do bio, and then yes, I wanted to be a doctor. But now actually, sour grapes I am really happy that I did law, because the way that the doctors are suffering, middle of the night they have to go to the hospitals and so on. Even though we work hard late nights, I generally start to read my briefs after 10.
Thank you.
So
let me ask.
And also I must thank my supportive husband in my absence. When I went to do my masters, he was looking after my 2 kids, and when I returned, it was they were with long faces. And when I go outstation, also the same. They were expecting me to come on Fridays, and then straight away taking the children back home after swimming late nights.
And Miss
Thank you.
How
Free
do you
bird.
balance juggling?
Yes, I would say that my experience is different to the former panelists because I'm unmarried. But that does not mean that you're relieved of your duties. I look after my mother, and my aunt was also living with me, who has passed away by now. That was a challenge. Especially now I find, because my mother has aged, she was a very strong person, her personality has changed. So with my current job, where I am looking after 24 institutions, I try to balance my attention to my mother, who is now not in good health. And that makes me forego, I don't advise any of you all to do that, I forego my own comforts in trying to balance it. That you shouldn't do. And one thing that I have mastered and understood in this is that you have to, as it was very correctly pointed out, you have to balance things, and you have to stay stress free. Otherwise you become a burden to yourself. So during the Attorney General's department, my career, I used to please myself sometimes by doing certain things. Went for dancing, went for music, and went for a movie, things like that, to entertain yourself, because you must get out of that mood and get into a new phase. Then you start it all afresh. Then you have a lot of courage and the vigor and the strength to face it, finish your job. Because in this profession, Dr. Panagoda, there are no shortcuts. There should be dedication, hard work, and commitment. If you have all those, you are sure to be successful in the profession.
Thank you. And also maybe that I had sacrifices sometimes,
Yes.
and lot of sacrifices. And you, last but not least.
My role is also different. I'm a single woman. I live alone with a domestic. But that does not stop me from doing what I want to do. I always do what I want to do. If I want to go and see a movie and I don't have a friend, I buy my ticket and go alone. Even if I have to go overseas, I don't wait for anyone. I just book my ticket, I book the hotel, and I go. I'm not bothered. I do a lot of things on my own, and everyone knows that. So I think if you're a single woman, I mean, everyone doesn't have this thing or be married or have children, but if you're a single woman, don't be sad. Do what you have to do, what all the others do. Even if you have to go for a party, even if you want to eat, go to even to the poshest hotel and you can have your meal. I mean, in this country, those days it may have been a little difficult for a single woman to walk in and do things alone. But I think things have changed. I see now a lot of bunches of girls coming in and doing things on their own. And I also see people doing a lot of things on their own. So even if you want to go for a movie, I don't think you should be looking for people to go. If you want to go, just buy the ticket and go, because anyway, when you're watching the movie, you're watching on your own, no? You're not being bothered who's seated next to you. So I think being a single woman, but of course being a single woman also, that means you have the whole house is on you. You have no support, so you have to see to everything in the house. Even if the roof is leaking, this is leaking, you have to look for vases, painting, everything is your baby then. But having said that, I don't think a single woman can always exist and be happy also. But I must also say, Mrs. Amarasekara must say, when she and Mr. Amarasekara switched roles and said that, why once he was going to do what you were doing and what he was, you can say what happened.
Yeah, so that and my role is different because I'm a war widow, and being a I'm a war widow, and being a single woman for a long period of time, but doing all that work and also doing few things. Maybe that I have not come to that level, but it's also challenging in our society to not only just be a single woman, but being a widow, and then also be a professional, and also working in an institution like Defense University. But that is where the challenge comes in, that your determination, your will. So with that, I think as I promised you, this is not just a educational. What we try to give you is the stories, lessons we learned, and what we heard in what is happening around us, for you to shape your career, your life. And also being, most of all, I think it is most importantly is being a human being, because that is something we are forgetting in today's context, especially the young ones. I'm asking you and I'm urging you to reflect around yourself, make it a better place for everyone, and then only we can be a good nation. And that is where that we can also avoid conflicts. And we have had enough of conflicts. So we need to progress, not only in our career, but also as human beings and also as good citizens. And that comes to an end. If there are any questions, maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions from the audience. Please raise your hand and ask the question. Maybe do we have a mic? If not, maybe you can. And if you have a question to a particular panelist, please do so, referring to the panelist. Yes, please. There is a question there, and then I come to you. Right. Yeah. No mic? Maybe you can, you're young enough to come up and ask the question. Can you repeat the question, please? And identify yourself. We would love to know who you are.
My name is Suina Beratna. I work at Mr. Ruwantukure's chambers. My question is that can we achieve true equality without positive discrimination? In terms of, for instance, Ma'am Nilanthi was saying how she only hires lady lawyers, and that's one. But is it a necessary evil that needs to be done so that the playing field is leveled? That's my question. Thank you.
And who would like to take that question?
No, it's just that not that I only hire lady lawyers, but it's just that my place, you're well aware, is full of only lady lawyers are there, because it just so happened. I think most of the ladies, for one thing, because I'm a lady boss, I think they prefer that because they have that security. That may be one thing. And then what has happened is most of the ladies want to do instructing. Most of the males who want to do instructing, most of the time start on their own. But if you take the bigger firms today, I think all the bigger firms, all the other firms also, I think they only have females now at the moment. I think there are very few male associates. No, it has so happened in all the firms. It's not that we are being discriminated on the males, but it's just it has so happened that we have only females. And if a male calls me, I tell them you may not be comfortable because you may be the only male here.
Is there, do you want to, Ms. Jensen, do you want to respond to that?
I think the number of ladies have gone up in all sectors due to several reasons. One thing, as I see, is since in the recent past, especially this is being highlighted. If you take law college, the intake that is high, the ladies. Then when you admit them to the bar, the Supreme Court, the number is high, that's ladies. But even if the ones who are admitted, they don't stay here. Most of them leave the country, as I observe, for better, I think, opportunities, because they can travel about and earn more when they have more qualifications. One of the reasons I see is that during our days, we had the basic requirements. You can have a seat, make yourself comfortable. We had the LLB or your equal degree, and then we had the entrance exam, and we entered. We enjoyed all the 3 years. Sometimes the day scholars did their degree separately. Then only the Open University came. But now there are ways and means of doing your higher studies whilst you are at law college, or you do your law degree and then you come for the final exam or other things to law college. So all that period that I would say that you have enjoyed as a student is being deprived of. So this is, of course, by the way, thing that I am saying you. So that is one of the reasons is the economic issue that, as I see. The second one is we have faced a war. So during that time, in the battlefield, many of the males were killed. So that also has given rise to this increase of the female population in the country. So I see those things as reasons to have increased the number of lady counsel currently. And even in other professions. If you take my ministry, the majority are females. And I was just telling my staff yesterday, we should not be calling this the Minister of Justice, but something like Vanita Katiyutu, because it's very difficult for me to get a male. So the majority everywhere, it's females.
And Mrs. Chatrika. Yeah, you can give comments as well, yeah.
I'm Chaturika Vijay Singh. I'm the sole proprietor of Women Law, Vijay Singh Associates. Actually, I want to make a small suggestion because at the moment we are facing with a lot of problems to get juniors. Because at once they say that last month they passed out and they said we are on our own. I was telling Nilanti also, and especially when they come to us, they are very, not that we need money. We need money. Without money, you can't do anything. But especially they are asking about the money and the salary. And we don't know how much we have to pay. And they are very responsible. And especially we have a very big responsibility as a instructing attorney, because we are responsible. My name, because we filed the proxies under our name. So we are responsible. In courts, they shout, Chaturika Vijay Singh Associates. There's nobody to answer because sometimes they won't talk. So we are responsible. And especially, madam, everybody, we should know, because when we get a deed, I'm a panelist. I'm working for some banks. Especially, I'm in a very difficult position. Sometimes they have done 12 times deed of rectification. 13th time I have to do. Even with that, we can't correct the title, because they have written titles. And especially, I want to tell, because this is a small experience. Day before yesterday, I got a client from Singapore. First time I saw her. I'm handling the matter. Small, very junior lawyer has written a lease agreement for Altea apartment. Because both parties were supposed to write the sales of a lease agreement under a power of attorney. But the tenant said that he's having the power of attorney. The tenant, the lady who wanted to take the apartment, she's in States. My client is a Singaporean lady. She was not here. She has given the power of attorney. When they came to sign the deed, no power of attorney. But the lawyer has signed. And she has gone. She has not registered the power of attorney. So the tenant is there, almost 6 months, they are not paying a cent. And now we gave instructions to cut off the utilities. On that issue, they have been to courts. Then we got the order in favor of us. They have appealed now. So my client doesn't have anything, no money, no tender. So because of a small error. So these are the things I think we must highlight, because when we, especially the Bar Association President and the Honorable Chief Justice Madam here, we have to introduce a new law or something to train these juniors. Because as soon as they take the oaths, they say we are on our own. They can be an own, but we are playing with the public people and normal people's lives. Some problems you'll never be able to correct. That's the whole issue. Thank you so much for giving me the
Thank you
opportunity.
very much. And is there one dying question? Yes, you are the winner. Yeah. Make it, yeah. Ask that question, and then if you are directing it to a panelist, let us know. If it is not, yeah, where is the mic? Pass the mic, please. Thank you.
Good evening to all the individuals, esteemed individuals in this congregation. My name is Desiree Valianga. I'm actually assistant lecturer at the University of Colombo, as well as I'm practicing with my father. I took oaths very recently, and it's a pressing concern of myself. I believe I'm speaking on behalf of many other junior lawyers as well. How do you filter the right advice, guidance, and suggestions given to you by seniors? It can be from your father, or it can be another senior, with regards to maybe that advice is directed to an individual who has particular aspirations in her career, or also to an individual who has no clue of what to do with the career path that she has chosen. I would like if any panelist in this congregation can answer, that would be really appreciative.
Who would like to respond to that? Seeking and receiving is, whom you are seeking and what you are receiving is what is important. Yeah, maybe my lady.
Actually speaking, explain my experience. When I came out from law college, I wanted to enjoy myself. Well, we have been studying, I was involved in extra activities as well, and I wanted to I wanted to be a lawyer. I became a lawyer, but my father wanted me to join the Attorney General's department because that is the best place for you to get experience. You will be getting a good exposure. And then anyway, about 1 year, I was working in a legal firm, De Silva and Mendes, and then my senior was earlier Mr. Sarath Muttettuagama. During my apprenticeship period, he died. So early I wanted to do criminal, but after that I gave up. And then I was actually introduced to Dr. Colvin, and then I wanted to do wanted to watch trials and wanted to be a trial lawyer. Then after his death, I gave up criminal everything and I started doing civil and joined, after taking oaths, I joined De Silva and Mendes, but I was not very happy there because it was almost a glorified clerk's job. I had to go to the, not very involved like Mrs. Pires, but I had to get records and take down journal entries, and I had to bribe the clerks there. I hated that. So because of that, I didn't want to do that. And then there was an advertisement for a legal officer in Navy. So then I applied. I was called for the interview. I got through the second interview, and then finals also. I went to the final interview, and senior state counsel then, Raja Fernand, was there. And then I have been doing debating and all sort of things. So he asked me why I wanted to join. So I said I would like to conduct inquiries and so on, and that is why I was a guide. I mean, I did guiding in my school, so I like to join forces. Then he said, if you want to do inquiries, why don't you join the department and be a state counsel? So I said, I was very young then and I didn't take much notice of the seniority and all that. I said, well, sir, if I don't get this, I am going to join. I said, because I preferred to join Navy. Then actually speaking, on my way back, I thought of getting an application, and then I was selected to the department as well as Navy. So then when I got the letter from the department, SSC Raja Fernand got to know about it, and he has informed the Navy. So in the middle of the night at 10 o'clock, they came in a jeep to hand over the letter of appointment to Navy. I got scared. Why? And then I thanked them, and then father, of course, advised me to join the department. And following day, I was summoned by Mr. Raja Fernando, and he asked me, why didn't you join Navy? So I said, sir, as a senior, how do you advise me? Which would be the best place for me to go ahead with my career? Then he said, of course, the department. So then, thank you very much, sir. I thanked the Navy, and that is how I joined. And then I wanted to join the judiciary as a trial court judge, because I was appreciating the work being done in criminal court. I have been doing criminal, and I was the, I think, first lady senior state counsel who started supervising criminal work, and the 10th lady state counsel after Honorable Chief Justice Mrs. Dias Vikramasinghe joined, and thereafter I joined as a lady. So that is how I came here.
So it's
so you have to see, you have to select, and you know you are your master.
So it's where you seek and who you look up to, and then what you receive, and filter it on your own way, kind of. Thank you very much for everyone, and you have been a very pleasant and nice audience. And the panelists, I thank you on behalf of the Bar Association and being such a wonderful panelist and bringing such nice stories. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Wonderful moderator.
We can go down, right?
Yeah.